Hey amazing people, Heidi Cooper here, functional medicine practitioner, licensed esthetician from Skin Side Out. Today I'm super excited to bring you part 3 in our series on hormones and acne. And today I want to cover just a few things surrounding cell toxicity. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. This is a subject that really I could expound upon for quite a long time, but we'll try to keep to some of the points that will be helpful for you to start focusing on. So first of all, I want to explain why some of these environmental toxin exposures are problematic from a hormonal standpoint. These toxins that we're exposed to can accumulate in the brain, and they really begin to affect the HPA, which is the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. And why that's important is because that HPA axis is the master controller of all of our hormones. So when we have this situation where the toxins are sitting on the brain and affecting the HPA axis, it really creates havoc for all of the hormones in the body, and it can be really difficult to clear up skin situations when we have this as the underlying root cause as to why these hormones are out of balance. So I see a lot of times even in the natural health world, there are a lot of different herbs used to help balance hormones, and while that can be effective for the short term, it's really not addressing this toxicity issue, which is at the root cause of why these hormonal imbalances are occurring. And until we really get to that piece, we never get full resolution of those hormonal imbalances. So I wanted to touch on what some of the main culprits for these hormonal imbalances can be. We're exposed to a lot environmentally with pesticides that can be very problematic. In fact, there was a study done on a pesticide called Atrazine, and I'll link that study below, where this pesticide, Atrazine, that was dumped into water, those areas where it was dumped, the fish and frogs actually changed sex from male to female. And if we're seeing that in nature, we know that that's really problematic for us as well, and something to be aware of. So making sure that we're limiting pesticide exposure is a huge one. BPA, we know the bisphenol A that's in plastics, we want to make sure we're avoiding that as well. Another thing to look at is your personal care products. I always explain to my clients that the European Union has banned over 1,300 ingredients that are either proven unsafe, questionable, or potentially toxic, and the US has only banned 30. So really take a little closer look at what's in some of your personal care items as well to be able to limit that exposure also. Then we want to look at dental work. If you have had root canals or wisdom teeth removed, there's a potential for something called dental cavitations that are infections in the mouth that oftentimes you really aren't even aware that they're there because there are no symptoms per se, and you just have to dig a little bit deeper to find what those infections are with something called a 3D cone beam scan. I'm a real big fan of biological dentistry, which is more holistic dentistry, taking a look at how the mouth affects the entire body. Another source of toxicity are these infections and some of the byproducts from the infections that can be very toxic to our systems as well. Another piece of toxicity from the dental world would be silver fillings. And the silver fillings contain mercury, and the mercury off gases and really is very toxic as well. So some things to really look at there and consider. Those things can really add to the proverbial bucket overflowing and the body really having an inability to detoxify correctly and remove these toxins from the body, and in turn affecting that HPA axis and all of our hormones as a result. So some things to look at there. The last one is mold, and mold is something that people are often have exposure to, and they may not even know that they have exposure to. But this is just a very short list of some of the things that you may have exposures to that you can try to play detective and figure out if you've had some of these exposures. Make sure that you're limiting your exposure, and then if you've had exposure, there are ways for us to work with cellular detoxification, really removing the source so that the body can start to heal itself. So hope that information was helpful for you. Please like and share this video if it was. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. I want people to know that there is a root cause for their hormonal imbalances, and if you've tried a bunch of other things that have not been helpful in creating that hormonal balance, the toxicity very well might be the source. So, health and happiness, have a super fantastic day. Thanks so much.